quietly and follow along. At any point, click the pause button to catch up or take a break. Let's create a squish print burger. A squish print is when we're going to be making a symmetrical design by squishing paint on paper. You're going to begin by taking your paper, folding it in half. Okay. Now these burgers could turn out really wide. I'm using 12 by 18 inch construction paper, but you could also use 9 by 12 inch and it will work just as well. Also, for the purpose of this video, I am using a black Sharpie marker, but you may want to use a pencil so you can erase if you need to. We're going to begin a little bit down from the top, and we're going to be making a giant arc. This is for the bun of our burger. Now, when we draw for our squish print, we're only doing 1/2 the burger, and you will see the magic. Let's bring that burger bun back to our center line. This is going to be a really double big burger. Now we're going to draw our lettuce. So let us do some fun art. Start at one end and just be going all different directions with your lettuce. Okay, and stopping when you hit the center line. I'm also going to be doing a curb in there for a tomato and a pointed edge for cheese. I'm going to have that come down towards the center. It will make more sense as we do it. Let's make our giant patty. We're going to come down the side and back over towards our melted cheese. Can you see it now? We have our bun, lettuce, tomato, cheese, patty, and let's finish the bun. So a slight curve and back straight over. Great! Now let's print. A squish print is really great for creating a copy of something. With a paintbrush, you're going to take the paint and we're going to start at the top. We're only going to do one line at a time-ish, or small sections, okay? And to ensure that you have enough paint on that line, I like to stroke each spot about 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Let's squish. To squish, you're going to fold your book in half. Make sure it's nice and flat. Take your knuckles and do small circles to massage the paper in a knuckle rub. Open the book back up and your design would have transferred to the other side. It's purely magic. Now you're going to continue to your next line. Remember, across, get a good paint on there, and then to even out that paint so we don't have blobs, I like to go back and forth a couple times. Here we go, let's squish. Small circles. And let's open. Moving on. Now the lettuce may take you some time. I'm going to do my lettuce in even smaller sections. The reason being we don't paint the whole thing in one, stroke or one squish is the paint might dry by the time you go to squish it. So then we'll end up with some dry areas like we did there. Here we go. And for the reveal. Not too bad. So what I love about squish prints is the materials will tell you what you're doing and how you can improve. I have some dry areas, so that means I could go back to those sections and add more paint. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more. Let's see, it was on the end over here. And I'm going to add a little more for the next time. Here we go. Give it a good swoosh, and I'm doing my knuckle rub all around the areas and even going back and doing some previous areas that I squished just to ensure that paint is constantly transferring. Looking pretty darn good. Okay, now I'm gonna try to get my tomato in there. All right, let's get our hamburger patty. Here we go. Woo, it's looking more and more like a burger. Don't forget your cheese. Now you're probably going, that's not a slice of cheese. When we squish it, it's going to create the corner of cheese. You could leave the cheese off your burger if you just want a plain hamburger too, artists. There we go. And finishing up the bottom patty. Here we go. And voila! There are a few more details I want to add, and those are little seeds. So for this, I'm literally just gonna do, now remember, it's gonna squish, so it may get bigger. Okay. Those are the sesame seeds on our bun. Working with fine-tuning details with squish printing. When you're squish printing, you always have to keep in mind about the squish. The paint's gonna go, The more pressure you have, the more the paint's gonna be forced to squish out. Keep that in mind as well. Yep, those turned into some pretty big seeds, but I'm digging it. All right, let's let this dry, and then we'll cut it out and color. All right, artists, so here is our squish print giant burger. What I did was I just cut around the outside, keeping on the outside of our black painted line that we squished. Okay, if there are areas that had extra blurb because they squished a little more, you can cut them off so it looks nice and even. Now we're going to enhance our squish print using crayons. Crayons are great because they have a nice texture to them and they allow us to blend and give shadowing and highlights. I've been working at the top of my bun down to the bottom bun. So I'm going to start with a brown and just lightly go over, now very, very light, artist, my top bun. Okay. Back and forth, and then I'm going to go over it with a little bit of yellow as well, just to give it more of a tan color. Depending what color you used underneath as your base paper may affect what color crayons you want to use over the top. Okay, so please keep that in mind. I'm going to do my bottom bun right away since I have those colors. Just lightly. Okay, now let's move on to our lettuce. Right here I have a green. This is a little bit darker green, but I can come in with either a yellow or a lighter green. I'm going to be going around the edges first. It just helps me kind of frame my squish print. Okay. All right, I might come back to that with a lighter green, but I'm gonna continue on and see how my yellow on this orange paper. It may not be super bright, but if we add white to it, it may brighten up as well. Okay, again, just depends what color base paper you have underneath. I added some tomatoes, even though they got kind of cut off. I'm still gonna add the red there and make it really nice. Now, the hamburger patty is what I really wanted to focus on today and implying texture. I'm using a brown crayon and I'm going to be pressing a little bit harder than my bun. Okay, so with your hamburger, to make it really look like meat, I'm going to be drawing in small like squiggles and circles. Okay, back and forth. This may take a little time, but it will be totally worth looking more like hamburger meat. And I'm just filling in that space with these small circles. I actually learned this technique from an artist. She is known as Mom. And my mom, when I was in my early 20s, she does awesome coloring book pages. And I want to share this image of you of one of her coloring book pages. It is 2 octopuses, hamburger or ketchup and mustard on this amazing background, which you might see is a giant hamburger patty. Okay, what made it look so dimensional and grilled is the way she colored it. It's actually just a solid white page, but by doing this and adding shadows, her hamburger patty came to life. She then cut out 3D pickles. Well, they weren't really 3D. She drew them to look 3D and placed them within the drawing. But seriously, what makes it is the texture or implied texture of the hamburger patty. You can already see that looks awesome in mine. Now I'm gonna go back a second time and I'm gonna press a little darker, or you can even get a different shade of brown. Okay, and I'm just layering, going over the top. The goal is small circles. Oh yeah, that looks really meaty. I'm digging it. All right, we're gonna continue on over here. Total different than when I just drew it across. Okay, it really breaks up our hamburger space. I'm gonna also go in with some black. Now, depending on how you do this, you can intentionally put grill marks by going a little bit harder in some rows or some areas, just like my mom Ann did in her drawing. There, you can already see the dimension forming. What an amazing idea. Thank you, Anne, aka Mom, for being an inspiration to me for all my life and to my students. Shout out to you in this video. And thank you for sharing your image with me today as well. All right, students, remember, small circles is going to be a little bit of a hand workout. I'm sure Anne could tell you she took some breaks drawing her hamburger patty, but it's totally worth it. Okay. And I am going to go back and layer in my grill marks. I really like these. I'm going to go back and enhance them a little bit, and just the underlying shadows of my hamburger patty. Okay, I'm gonna grab a couple more brighter colors to finish up, maybe a little bit lighter for our green, and I'm gonna look for a tan in particular. Then we'll come back and we'll add our highlights, which are really gonna make this burger amazing. Okay, I am back with a few more colors just to highlight my hamburger. I'm starting with this yellowy green. I just wanted to see how it would react on this orange paper. Again, depending what base paper you have, you may need to use different crayons, but I just found that it's fun to layer colors to achieve a different color. Okay. So I really like that. I think that's looking more and more. I'm gonna try this shade and brand of crayon too. Every brand is generally a little different, the amount of wax versus pigment in there. So it's best just to always, I say, try them all. This is not our last step to our lettuce either. We are going to be adding white, which is really going to enhance our color even further. But I'm just really hoping to get a good base color of green on here. There we go. All right. I did want to try to enhance my yellow a little bit too before adding some white, so I just thought I'd try a different yellow one last time. And then I did find a tan crayon. Don't know if it will make a difference. I'm just trying it on this paper. Again, boys and girls, your teachers are always experimenting alongside with you. So, okay, so not as much as I liked, but it did kind of soften things up. Let's do Miss Dykeman's favorite part, which is the white crayon highlights. On a squish print, I like to really bring out characteristics, divide up certain areas using a white crayon because it really pops on the black. So wherever you feel you would like to highlight certain areas, this is a good time to do that. I also like to divide up certain areas. Like for example, I broke up the lettuce from this cheese. Okay, I'm gonna color a little bit more on this cheese with the white. There. I might add a streak here. I did want to add a little bit more in our hamburger patty as well. And I'm going to break up the lettuce from the patty. But let's go back down to this hamburger. So I'm going to just do my small circles again as we talked about. And I'm going to enhance my lighter areas, the areas I did not add black, which if you did the grill lines like me, they're going to be in between this. And again, small colors, because we want to show the texture of the patty. Okay. And then I'm just going to do a line underneath to really kind of tie it all together. And I'm going to do some lines across to really emphasize that patty, maybe underneath the bun, around the edges. I want to highlight my seeds, so I can do a little highlight on a few of those. Maybe up top on the burger. Okay. It's really wherever you see fit. On my edges. Okay. Maybe do a little one down here. Now I do want to go back in with my black crayon now to give it a little bit more shadowing. I want more shadowing on the bottom of my patty, so I'm just going to go back and forth. In between, underneath the lettuce to show the lettuce has a little shadowing as well. And when I say shadow, boys and girls, I'm really just blending black into the paint, just like this. So as soon as I'm done here, I'll take a pause and you can compare both sides. Okay, a little bit more smoother transition between the colors and the paint lines. All right, I'm gonna also do the same around the edge of my bun at the bottom, just to kind of make it look a little more dimensional. It's just my personal preference. And a little bit up top. Show that the bun is curving. Okay, I'm also gonna go underneath the bun towards the lettuce. To show some dimension in the lettuce, I'm going to be drawing shadows to show that it is curved up and down. You'll see it right here. Okay. Kind of similar to the meat. Alrighty. And I'm just going to go and add a little more white in my lettuce just to top it off and do a little blending, but I think that is it. Thank you so much for joining me today, drawing our big, big burger.